Well, welcome everyone to this fourth episode of Elements of Tea, presented by the Hammond Museum Tea Club. And we are most delighted to have you with us. As you just noticed, that this event is being recorded, and so your continued participation in this program is your consent, and we will post it on YouTube for others to share. We begin as ever with Michael McKenna, who is a longtime student, devotee, and expert of Japanese language, Japanese culture, and especially the tea ceremony. So I'll turn it over to Michael. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. And my name is Michael McKenna. My team name is Solken. Tonight I'll be an interpreter for the last half of our program, and I am an instructor in Omote Senkei tea. Hazue Tamura Rogers, who is a student of Ura Senkei tea and an instructor of Sogetsu Ikebana, will be handling the demonstration part of the last half of our program tonight. And we're assisted by Amy, who's helping out with the cameras and the vases in demonstrations. So thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
We're going to now, if we shift the screen, we will take a look at we can get
Michael, you'll need to press share screen, and then to bring up your presentation, which you should be able to do. There we go.
And if we can,
I know you can't see it, but he's just sharing his slide.
And we are seeing that.
okay, let me try and if I can.
You can click on slideshow at the
Trying to
top.
do what I have the talking heads are in the middle. Okay, here we go. So our topic tonight is Ikebana, tea flowers. So I'm going to start off with not quite a definition, but a short description of what is a tea flower. We'll move into some stories about tea flowers and then a demonstration of both Ikebana and tea flowers. If you look at the books or talk to a student or a teacher of the tea ceremony and you ask what a tea flower is, you'll hear something like tea flowers are flowers of the season, arranged just as they are in nature. So very simple, very restrained kind of feel to the flowers that one uses in the tea ceremony. Sen Norikyu, the codifier of the tea ceremony as it's come down to us, used to speak about tea flowers being, quote, as they are in the field. Joel was Sen Norikyu's teacher. And he used a poem to talk about the flowers used in tea. He says, look with deliberate attention at the flowers in the autumn, and you will surely find various flowers in the grass. So this seasonality is one of the keys to what is a tea flower. Autumn flowers in the autumn, spring flowers in the spring. One never uses flowers that are in bloom throughout the whole year. One finds the flower that speaks of that season. Rikyu often quoted a poem by Saigyo. He says, people look expectantly for the cherry on the hillside. Rather, take note of the spring grasses pushing through the snow on the village pad. We're not looking for something exotic. We're not looking for something showy. It's not the cherry tree that you can see across the valley and with the bright pinks and whites contrasting with the pines and bamboos and on the hillside. Very understated, simple,
So,
everyday flower.
We know about the hydrocodone. And the diclofenac.
I think
Diclofenac.
maybe we should mute the other participants. I don't know.
I think that's coming from Ms. Tamura. Everybody
Oh,
else is
okay, I'm
muted.
sorry.
No, it's all right.
No, no, it's not.
Well, okay. If you can hold questions or comments till the end, I would appreciate it. Okay, tea flowers and Ikebana, Chabana and Ikebana. We're going to be bouncing back and forth during the discussion and the demonstration today, talking about these two types of floral art, Japanese floral art. Chabana is our main topic. We're talking about the tea that happens when we have the tea flowers, the flowers that are arranged when we go through the roji, which we discussed a couple of weeks ago. We enter the tea room and see the scroll, which we talked about last month, and the flowers arranged in the tokonoma. Chabana, the tea flowers, aims for the feeling of someone reaching down to pluck a bunch of grasses from the side of the road. As we'll see when we do the demonstrations, Chabana is much more structured. The branches are arranged one branch by branch and put in the vase in an architectural way almost. In the Omote Senke style of tea and tea flowers, one arranges the flowers in your hand as though you've just plucked them from the side of the road, arrange them in your hand, and then drop them into the vase in a very simple way. Another difference between the two is that Chabana is the result of what's called the unrepeatable moment, Ichigo Ichie, of a tea gathering. Tea gathering itself is something that there's no do-overs. Every time you do it, it's a unique event. And the flowers basically are displayed during the last half of the ceremony, maybe just 2 hours of time for the display of this tea flower. Ikebana, on the other hand, might be displayed at a shrine, spring festival or fall festival, in a hotel lobby, at the entrance of a restaurant, or in a private home. And they might be maintained there for even a few days, as long as they maintain their freshness. Ikebana employs flowers and branches, leaves, even pieces of metal and plastics, paper, to arrange its creations. But Chabana even forbids certain flowers as too showy or strong smelling. Nothing but the very plain, very simple, everyday flower. Now my slides are not advancing. Here we go. famous story that captures some of the feel of.
Oh, thank you.
If we could please mute your microphones so that comments are interrupting the presentation. So there's a famous story about the morning glory that captures a lot of the feeling of what the tea flower is. One year, Sendo Rikyu planted morning glories in his garden. Lord Toyotomi Hideyoshi, his patron, heard of their brilliant bloom and wanted to see them the next morning. When the Lord arrived, however, not a single morning glory was to be seen. The Lord looked quite displeased, but when he entered the tea room, he found a single morning glory arranged in the alcove in the tokonoma. It looked utterly fresh and glorious. The Lord and his attendants felt quite refreshed, as if they had just awoken. That says something about the effect that one is trying for with the tea flower. Something as simple as a single flower, a single bloom, but brings the seasonality and the freshness and the uniqueness of that tea ceremony to the front. So that's my somewhat abstract, not definition, but description of some of the aspects of the tea flower. I'd like to turn it over now to Hazue-san, who will show some of the Ikebana that she has created and create for us some tea flowers. And Hazue-san will speak in Japanese and I will interpret. Hazue-san, dozo.
マイクさん、ありがとうございます。
Michael, do you want to stop sharing screen and then we can see?
Yes, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Thank you for. Okay. So Hazue-san, it's all yours. Dozo.
はい、ありがとうございます。マイクルさん、ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
私、日本語で話しますので、英語でよろしくお願いします。
I'll speak in Japanese. Please interpret in English.
まずはじゃあ、生け花とはよろしいですか？
はい、どうぞ。
生け花とは、生け花の生け花、生けは日本語では生きる意味です。花は日本語では花です。それで生け花と言います。
What is Ikebana? The word Ike means fresh, alive, to be born. Bana or hana means the flowers. So Ikebana is fresh flowers.
茶花とは、日本語では茶はティー、日本語では花の花は花です。それで茶花と言います。
So what is chabana? Cha, as many of you know, is the word for tea, and bana is the word for flowers. So chabana is tea flowers.
生け花は日本でいつ始められたか？
So when did Ikebana get its start in Japan?
日本の古い家には床の間が必ずありました。床の間は神へのいる場所で畳が敷いてあります。
In a traditional Japanese home, there's an alcove in the main room called a tokonoma. It's a sacred place, the place where the gods visit the home. It's a raised platform with tatami mats and the bottom of it.
生け花は常に置いてある風習でした。生け花が始められたのは多分1880年頃からと思われます。
Traditionally in that tokonoma in the Japanese home, flowers would traditionally be arranged there. And as far as we're able to tell, this tradition of arranging flowers dates back 1600 years.
はっきりとしたものではありませんが、生け花の始まった由来、生け花は仏教とともに日本に入ってきたと思われます。
It's not precise, but it's believed that 1600 years ago, roughly, with the introduction of Buddhism, the art of flower arrangement first came to Japan.
新鮮な花はいつも仏様に捧げられていました。日本では。この時の生け花は前から見るだけでした。
In Japan, it's traditional to have fresh flowers placed in front, offered to the Buddha, placed in front of his image, of his statue. The worshippers would view these arrangements only from the front.
そして奥行きのない平らな生け方でした。それは1927年まで続けられておりました。
For many hundreds of years, this custom of arranging flowers in front of the Buddha resulted in a two-dimensional, a kind of a flat arrangement seen only from one side. This persisted up until 1927.
1927年に草月スクールの家元、私のスクールですけど、祖父勅使河原、彼のお父様は生け花の先生でした。そして彼はそこで生け花を習っておりました。
In 1927, the Sogetsu school of flower arranging had its start. The first head of the family, Sofu Teshigahara, had studied flower arrangement with his teacher, but yes, go ahead.
祖父勅使河原、彼は21歳、彼は生け花のアレンジメントに疑問を持ち、もっといい方法で生け花を楽しんでいただきたいと思い、
Mr. Teshigahara was 21 years old when he started having questions about the traditional way of arranging flowers. He thought he could show Ikebana in a much more interesting way.
彼の思いつきは三角形でできたら深さが出てきます。この方法がもっと面白いと彼には思いました。
The change that he made was to attempt to arrange the flowers in a triangular fashion so that it was not flat two-dimensionals, but three-dimensional with some depth to it. And he thought this was much more interesting than the traditional way.
それで彼は自立して自分の生け花スクールを作りました。そして彼は一番最初の自分の生け花の展覧会を東京で行いました。
That year in Tokyo, he had an exhibition of his flowers, and which marked the beginning of his Sogetsu school of flower arrangement.
今現在は4代目の茜家勅使河原女性です。
The fourth head of the family, Akane Teshigahara is a woman who now leads the Sogetsu school.
草月スクールの目標として、いつでも、どこでも、誰でも、どんな材料を使っても生け花が生けられることができます。
Sogetsu's motto is that anyone at any time and anywhere using any kind of materials can create flower art, Ikebana.
生け花の方法は投げ入れ、または投げていける。
The style, the way of doing Ikebana is called nageire, means throwing in.
その他に生け花のスタイルとして、盛り花。写真で見た方がよろしいですか今、それとも終わってから。これが盛り花のコンテイナーです。でもこれはフリースタイルですけど。
So, nageire is one style of creating the teas. Another style is called moribana, which means to arrange in a low dish in a mound shape.
これは剣山とかピンホルダーを使って花材を留めます。
This style can use pin cushions or frogs, various ways of helping to put the arrangement together.
投げ入れはトールグラスを、トールコンテイナー、この赤いグラスですね。トールです。これは私が作った自作の鍵です。
The tall blue container that we just showed was a nageire style of throwing, quote, throwing the pieces in.
剣山とかピンホルダーを使いません。
In this particular piece, the frogs or the pin cushions are not used.
その他の器として、壺、バスケット、鉄のものとか、プラスチック、どんなものでも使えます。
Various kinds of containers are used, tall and flat baskets and metal or glass containers. There's a whole variety of containers in use.
そして大事なことは、生け花を生けると、その生け花はもう花ではなくて、その人の個性の現れた人になります。
One of the key points of Ikebana is that when the flower arrangement is completed, the flowers, the Ikebana are not just flowers, they become
生け花を
display all of the characteristics of their creator. They actually, in effect, become a person.
で、グリーンのあれは、この野菜とかを留める、これ、なんて、thread, right? You can use this kind of things. This is Sogetsu.
So Sogetsu can use various implements, and the green circular piece in that behind the red flower are garden ties covered in rubber that are added to create this particular shape.
生け花を最初に習うと、3つの異なったサイズに使います。チン、添え、控え。
When you first begin to study Ikebana, there are three elements that you pay special attention to. Shin, Soe, and Hikae. The shin is the backbone, the longest branch. The Soe is the companion piece, the second longest. And the Hikae, the shortest of the flowers, are the support, the reserves that give the foundation for the arrangement.
これらの真相控えは器の大きさにより違ってきますが、長さは器の高さとか、
Depending on the size of the container, of the vase, or otherwise tea container, the length of the various branches from shin, the longest, to hikae, the shortest, will vary.
生け花を習うにはいろいろなものを使って生けられます。マイケルさんが先に説明したように、美しく咲いた花の枝物、枝、野菜、根っこ、葉物、苔、フルーツ、いろいろなものを使って楽しむことができます。でも大事なのは、見て美しく生けられるということです。
Ikebana can use, as we mentioned before, can use a wide variety of materials, branches, flowers, of course, berries, stems, fruit, mosses, dried plants, even metals and plastic. But the whole point is that using all of these instruments, the student of Ikebana is attempting to create something that is visually appealing, that is beautiful. Perhaps we could begin to look at some examples of Ikebana.
それでは今から茶花についてお話ししたいと思います。マイケルさんが先にお話しされたのがもう一度お話しするようになるところもありますけれども、よろしくお願いします。茶花は
I want to talk a little bit about Ikebana now, and I'll repeat some of the things that McKenna spoke earlier, but I hope it will be interesting.
茶花とは茶道ではお茶室の床の間に生ける花のことを茶花と言います。
So as we said before, Ikebana is the flower arrangements that are displayed in the tokonoma of a tea room.
千里球の教えでは花はのりあるように、すなわちフラワーアレンジメントのように美しく盛り付けるものではなく、まるで自然の中に咲いているような花本来のあるのままの姿を表現するため。
As we said before, Senrikyu taught that Ikebana should be flowers as they are in the fields. That means that Ikebana seeks not for a gorgeous, beautiful arrangement. It seeks to express, to capture the ideal feel of the grasses and the flowers as they were originally blooming in the fields, as they are in nature.
それで投げ入れという格式で生けるのが原則とされています。
So the basic principle in order to achieve that feeling is to use the nageire, the throwing it in style. In
今
Ikebana.
からいくつかの茶花を生けてお見せしたいと思いますけども、茶花を生けるルールは少しですが、とても大事なのはシンプルで自然に咲いているよう に生けるのが大事です。
Ikebana has very few rules, minimum of rules. And underlying everything is the desire for something that's simple and is natural. So I'm now going to demonstrate creating a number of Ikebana arrangements.
もう一つ、マイケルさんも前におっしゃったように、生け方は季節感はとても大事です。お花の特徴をよく見て、シンプルな柿とかバスケットを使用されるといいと思います。それでは今から、
As we discussed earlier, it's very simple, and the way of doing it is also very simple.
これは雪舟焼きです。島根県の。
There's a pottery vase from Shimane Prefecture.
まずこれはアイリッシュ。日本のアイリッシュの
So Japanese iris is first.
で、これは木毛です。
So the next flower, mukuge, is a rose of Sharon, a type of hibiscus, sometimes called.
That's it. Very simple.
Gets much simpler than that. 2 flowers, 1 leaf and 1 flower, actually.
Next, 次は萩です。
The next vase is from Hagi in Western Japan.
これも木毛で生けていきます。木毛にはたくさん実がなった、実じゃなくて、つぼみがありますけれども、このつぼみは生け花では全部取ります。
So we're going to use the Rose of Sharon again, and as is the case with the Rose of Sharon, there are various buds, but in Ikebana, these buds are all removed because the arrangement is really intended just for that unrepeatable moment of the tea ceremony.
これはエノコロソです。これも私の家のドライブウェイで取ってきました。この、すみません、マイケルさん。この木毛はソータン好みの木毛です。
So this mukuge, this Rose of Sharon, is called the Sotan Rose of Sharon. It's the mukuge that was the favorite of Sendorikyu's grandson, Sen Sotan. The flower, I believe, is what we call a foxtail grass, and not the flower, the grass that's behind the mukuge. So after 2 pottery vases, we'll now.
No, not the basket yet.
Oh, okay.
One more. Sorry. My table is
Got ahead of
really
myself.
big. I like to use more again, ソータン木毛を使います。
I'm going to use the Sotan mukuge again.
花期によって木毛の雰囲気が違ってくるんではないでしょうか。
You'll notice that depending upon the container used, the feeling of the mukuge, of the Rose of Sharon, is completely different.
で水の中に入る枝物の 葉とかは取った方が良いと思います。これは白玉草、ブラダーフラワ
Yeah,
ー、ブラダーチャンピオン、
oh, okay.
日本
Bladder
語で
champion.
白玉草です。日本語で白玉草です。じゃあ次、バスケットで受けてみたいと思います。
Now we're gonna use a basket.
特に夏はよくバスケット、茶花で使われます。これで3種
Especially
類
during the summertime, we use baskets in tea flower arrangements. They help provide a feeling of coolness in the hot summer weather.
This is スパイレラジャポニカ。日本語では下付けです。
And I'm not sure Shimotsuke, and I don't know what we call that in English.
お、スパイレラジャポニカ。
Spirea, right? So Japanese
Japonica.
Spirea.
This is Eastern Daisy. It is, I'm not sure right name or not, but
What do you call it once more?
Eastern Daisy. Eastern.
Eastern daisy.
Yeah. This is also my driveway. I was driving. I thought it was very nice. So I never
Many
used
of
it.
the flowers that Hazue-san is using today, she picked right in, going in beside her driveway to her house.
Mhm. This is a little bit tall.
Here's another vase.
You know, I have to put in the water. Every time I take from the water, this flower will be very sad. So I have to keep in the water. This is called 木釣り船。この黄色いのを木釣り船と言います。
We call that in English jewel weed.
I see. Impatient も言いますか It's very
Impatiens
interesting
pallida.
inside.
The scientific name is Impatiens pallida, but in English, the vernacular name is
Chavana. There are lots of
jewel weed.
this flower, lots of buds. But Chavana, they don't want to bud, so we take off. And this is, I guess this is the episode. You know what? This is, I have long driveway, and I was one day, 2 days ago, I was looking flower, and then I found this yellow flower from my neighbor's drive or country road. So I came home and then I parked the car my front of my driveway. My car is wet. So then I took my scissor and flower scissor, and then I went down the hill, and then police stopped me. I said, "Are you okay?" He asked me. I said, "Yes." "Hey, that's your car over there?" I said, "Yes, that's my house, my driveway." "And what are you doing?" He said, "Well, you know what? I want to cut my flowers." And so this is I have my driveway, but then same one, but then my neighbor's driveway is much better flower, so I cut this one. So anyway, this is called kitsuri. Japanese called yellow, key is yellow, right? And then
Yes.
tree means the fishing, and then fune means the boat, fishing boat, yellow fishing boat directly, but it's impatient, right, Michael-san?
The yellow fishing boat, which we call the jewel weed. Some of the English names aren't very poetic.
And this is the Japanese name, Nadeshiko.
This is a Japanese pink, even though the color that we're seeing here is more like white, bluish white, but it's
English is
Nadeshiko or pink.
Apollinaria. So this is my 5 different type of the arrangement for tea.
I think you have some behind you on the,
Yes. And then I mentioned about, did I mention about the, for tea, you can use ceramic, you can use the basket bamboo, and then you can use the gold. This is hyotan, Japanese called hyotan, gold. This is real gold, yeah. And then this is, I went to sake tasting, and then a sake bottle came inside. So he was throwing away. So I said, can I have one? I said, what are you going to do? I said, I like to use a flower arrangement. So I kept this, and this is the first time I'm using it. I'm going to send a picture to a sake company. And then.
so the gourd in the top that's been hollowed out, dried and hollowed out, and the sake bottle covering.
And then there's another one. This is the dough. This is the Daitokuji mokuge also. And then this is the akebia.
So this container is made of bronze. It's made to be hung in the tokonoma. The mukuge, the Rose of Sharon here, is
The akebia.
called the Daitokuji, the name of a famous Zen temple in Kyoto. And the small green branch here is, and I've forgotten what it is. Akebia, I believe.
Oh, akebia, yes.
So do you have anything else to show us?
I think that's
If not, then we
that's
will.
all arrangement.
Great.
You know, this is also glass container. My teacher made in Japan, and then red one I made the glass container for Ikebana.
So these
And this-
Ikebana containers were created by Hazue-san and her teacher.
And this is the iron container I bought from my school. And today I saw the hibiscus were blooming so beautiful, so I put there. This is the paper. This is, you know, the paper, like this kind of a rectangular paper, and then I slice it and then make the container. So you can make your own container for Ikebana.
So this last 3 or 4 months that we've just shown are examples of Ikebana and the containers that can be created for that. Thank you very much, Hazue-san. Why don't you have a seat and see if we have any questions?
About this, I hope people understand the Ikebana to Ikebana no chigai.
Do we have any questions from the audience?
Is still there? I was talking about the moribana. This is the moribana container, right? And I use for Kenzan. This is Kenzan pink cushion to hold the flower branches. They come like this.
I forget what we call that in
Kenzan.
Call it a
in
frog.
Japanese. Kenzan is
In English, we call that a frog.
is that a frog? Yeah.
Pink cushion.
Japanese is more like a mound of swords.
Any question?
Comments, questions? I think Yasuko-san, you have your hand up here. Can you turn on your microphone?
Thank you very much. 初江さん、こんにちは。ありがとうございました。とても
こんにちは。
良いお話をとても興味深く聞きました。一つ目の質問なんですけれども、茶花の方なんですけれどもね、ドライブウェイにいろいろな何か可愛いお花が咲いているということなんですが、何か種をまいてそこに意図的に育てたとか、そういうことではないんですね。
ないです。自然です。
Okay. ちょっと待ってください。通訳しますから。So Yasuko-san thanks Hazue-san for the interesting talk and wants to know whether these flowers blooming in her driveway were planted deliberately or were they totally natural? どうぞ。
はい、これ全部自然です。オルガニックですし、種まいてないです。
ということは、
We didn't see anything. These are all naturally occurring flowers.
だから今年あっても来年は合うかどうかわからないですね。
ということは風に乗って自然に種が運ばれてきたということでしょうかね。
Does that mean that these seeds were probably blown here on the wind and established themselves quite naturally?
そうです。と思います。
That's what my understanding.
風とか動物とか
種
を食べる。
So the wind or animals bringing the seeds?
本当の茶花を見たような気がします。
Thank you very much. I had the impression that I was seeing real Ikebana.
ありがとうございます。
Anyone else? Liz, don't you have some questions up your sleeve there?
No, I think everything was answered.
じゃあもう一つ。
One more, please.
差し支えなければ茶花に使った花入れですが、どちらのその焼きを使われているのか、ちょっとっていうのが一番大きなものが私備前かと思っていたらば萩とおっしゃったので、そういう萩もあるのかなと思って。
備前かもしれない。間違ってたかもしれません。
そうです。それを見て、ちょっと一つ一つどういったお焼きか知ると大変興味深いなと思ったんですが、長々とごめんなさい。
いやいや、間違ってました、私が。
If it wouldn't be a problem, if you could show us the containers that you use and tell us where they were created, that would be very helpful to me.
とても花入れとお花がこう調和していたので、ちょっとそこを知りたいなと思いました。
ありがとうございます。
The vases look match very well with the flowers. I'd love to know where the vases are from.
Do you like my arrangement? Thank you.
Pull it back towards you, Steve, please. We can't see it there. Okay. これどこの焼きですか?
This is 雪州焼き、島根県。But this is, I'm not sure, unknown myself.
So Shimane Ken, I'm not sure, I couldn't catch the name of the kiln.
雪州焼き
Seshu Yaki
はい。
from Shimane Ken, and Hazue's son is not sure where the
友達からいただいたもので、私が買ったんではないんですけど。
あ、
was a gift, so I didn't buy it.
So this is, I made a mistake, this is Hagi, right?
So this Hazue-san identified as a Hagi vase, but in discussion with Yasuko-san, she thinks that it is possible that this is Shigaraki.
no、備前
Bizen.
かなと見えたので分かりません。実際に見てないので。
I am not sure exactly. これも unknown.
This is also unknown.
ね、実を言うとそれがとても素敵に見えたので知りたいなと思ったんです。
That's bad. I thought that was very cute, and I would really want to know where that was from.
I know this came, 日本から来たんですけど、私が買ってないので、
ああ、なるほど。
It was from Japan, but I didn't buy it, so I'm not quite sure exactly where it's from.
でもどれも趣があってね、とても良かったです。
ありがとうございます。
They all have a real presence to them. Thank you very much. And I think if there's no other questions, we want to thank Hazue-san for her wonderful demonstration, Amy for the wonderful camera work, and the Hammond Museum for giving us this chance to explore another facet of the tea ceremony. Next month, on the fourth Tuesday at 7 o'clock, we will have a presentation on, I believe it's on Chawan next time. We will have that on the website in a couple of weeks, so you can sign up. Chawan being tea bowls. All right. If there's nothing else, well, thank you all around, and we'll see you next month. Take care.
Thank you.
ありがとうございました。